All right, so the next thing we need to do on this series of creating a Spring Boot project from scratch is that we need to add some sort of version control into our project. So the project is currently stored in sort of this directory on my computer. So I need to navigate to that directory using what I use is git bash. So I'm on a Windows machine. And when you install GitHub Desktop on your machine, you can also install Git Bash. And basically, all Git Bash is this is a shell window that uses the Bash, whatever, I don't know if it's a language or whatever it is, to be able to interact with a shell in kind of like a Mac-esque, a Linux-esque type shell versus using like the Windows PowerShell, which I'm just not a fan of. So let's go to the Git directory. So right now we're in home folder, which is just the tilde thing here means home. The home directory is just, C:/users/ your username. And this is in C, users, username, and then git. So you go cd git, and then you can go cd the name of the directory, which is course report API. So I'm in here, and as you can see, there's nothing to the right of this text here, which means that there's no Git repository associated with this particular folder yet. So we need to make sure that we get one associated with it. So how we do that is we just type in git init, which is the you only do this when you don't have a Git repository set up. And like I said, you can tell that because there's no text to the right of it. And then you can add some properties or attributes to this. You can use -b to assign the name of the branch, the main branch. So I'll use b main. Otherwise, it assigns it the name master, which either one works. But most repositories these days, when they're new, the main repository branch is called main. So we do that. And boom, there we go. We've initialized our repository, which all that does is it adds a folder in here called git, or rather .git. So if I list out the directories, what is it, -a, we see a .git directory is in here now. Okay, so that didn't exist before. I ran the git init. This Git folder did not exist. Now it does exist, and now we can see it realizes it's in the part of the main branch for this guy. So that's it. We've now sort of associated a Git repository with this, folder, right? Now it hasn't been checked in yet. We haven't added any files to this. We haven't staged anything. We haven't pushed it out or committed anything. So there's no magic is happening yet. But that's sort of the first step that you need to get Git tied into it. So that if you want to, you can go and open up GitHub Desktop. If you haven't installed it yet, install GitHub Desktop, and we can add add a local repository to our list of repositories. So here is the list of repositories. I only have a few, and the course report API integration is not in this list. So I can say file, add a local repository, because that's what we have right now. It's just a local repository. Local meaning it's only on your machine. It hasn't been, it's not a clone of a repository that is on the internet already. So when you're cloning a repository, if you go file clone, that means that you're taking something that's already on the internet and you're bringing it onto your machine. Adding a local repository means it's already on your machine. Okay, so I'm going to choose the path, which is that Git folder. So we'll go to Git, and then course report, API integration. I'll select this folder, and there we go. And I'll say add repository. And now we can avoid using the command line to do all of our Git stuff. If you prefer to use a command line, go for it. Right? You can go here. You can do your Git add, Git commit with a message, and Git push. And you also need to tie it in with a repo. Anyway, you can do all that stuff you want to do. But I just find that I prefer using GitHub Desktop a bit more. So cool. Now, let's see. Is there anything I need to exclude from here? I think everything looks okay. And I'll just call this the initial commit to the main branch. Now, this repository doesn't exist yet on GitHub. So I forget if they have a view for this to do this. So we'll say commit, and then as you can see, it says publish repository as opposed to push repository. Normally it would say push. I think it's push anyway, but yeah, it's publish. So let's see. This repository is currently only available on your local machine. By publishing it on GitHub, you can share it and collaborate with others. Exactly. So we want to be able to publish this to github.com. So perfect. Course report API integration, description. I don't want to make it private because I do want to be able to share it with others. And I'll make it part of my Coders Campus organization. Because why not? So I have an organization on GitHub. You may not, and you could just say none. That's fine too. But I actually have, my Coders Campus organization set up on GitHub. And yeah, I'll publish repository, and I believe this should create it on github.com so we can actually see it on the interwebs. So if we go onto the interwebs and go to github.com and go to github.com/coderscampus, Coders Campus, and then go to the repositories in Coders Campus, we should see, there it is, Course Report API Integration. So if I click on that, we have all of our files here that were on our local machine. Now you see the POM XML is here, right? That's the one that we created in that previous video. It's here. The source directory is here with the test and the main and blah, 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 right? So all these files are here now and they're publicly available. So if you were now to go on github.com/coderscampus and go to the repositories and click on this guy, you would see that the main branch would exist. Now, once you get here and see it, I will have probably already added a bunch of stuff to the main branch. So, it'll look different, right? But what I probably will do so that you can see the exact same thing is I'll create a branch. So what I'll do here is I will create a branch and I will call it, 01 or something like that, for meaning like the first lesson or something, or the code from the first lesson. So I'll say create a new branch, and I'll just call it 01. Never call the branch 01. This is a do as I say, not as I do, right? You want a branch name to be a lot more descriptive than just 01. But for me, it's lesson 1. So I could have called it lesson 1, but actually that's probably would have been a better name. Anyway, I'll publish this branch. So now, if you go to github.com/coderscampus, let me just refresh the page, and you click on the drop down, now you'll see there's a 01 in here. And if you don't see 01, you can type to find it. You can type in 01, and you'll see the branch. You can click on it, and then you'll see this code. This code, I don't intend on changing it for this particular branch, so you should see the same code yourself on your computer. So you'll be able to follow along with me. So there you go. That's the lesson 1 code, which is just a blank, empty Coders Campus, Course Report API Integration project. It's that blank Spring Boot starter project outline, and then in the next one we'll get into some details of what this app is going to do and sort of an idea of what the app will look like what it will essentially do and what the database schema will look like. So what sort of stuff are we going to be storing inside of this application? And we'll handle that in the next lesson. So looking forward to seeing you there. Take care.